Hey everybody, it's Mr. Mott. What we're going to do is talk about measurement and how it relates to significant figures and how much we should estimate when we are measuring. Measuring length or a mass, a volume, anything like that. First we have is a four-sided meter stick. So this is kind of an unusual one. And on each side of the meter stick, it's subdivided into different subdivisions or different graduations, you might say. The one we're looking at right now has no graduations on it, but it is 1 meter long. And what we're going to do is kind of zoom in on a measurement of a unsharpened pencil. And what we want you to do in your paperwork is to record the measurement as you see it and according to however many decimal places you think is appropriate. And then once we do that, we're going to kind of discuss what you came up with in class. So what we've got, there's our measurement there, kind of zoomed in a little bit. Just as a reference, that 1 meter, the 1 that's on the ruler, is about halfway in between the ends of the meter stick, just for a little bit of perspective. Okay, so you can pause the video and then you can write down your measurement. We'll move on to the next one. The next side of the ruler we're looking at is subdivided into 10 equal parts. So you can take a look at that, see how you would write these down. The 10 equal parts, those are decimeters. And so you can record it in decimeters. If you want to convert it to meters, you could do that as well, but decimeters is fine. The next subdivision that our ruler has is centimeters. So the meter stick is divided up into 100 equal parts. And so I laid the pencil down next to it and kind of zoomed in on the picture on the right so you could see a little bit better. So go ahead and think about how you would record that value. And then we'll move on to the next one. Lastly, what we have is our meter stick is subdivided into 1,000 equal parts, which would be millimeters. And so we have the zoomed in picture on the right, so you can try to record that value. Once you've done that, so you can pause the video. Once you've done that, we can move on. The next slide shows the same object, little Kansas Jayhawks binder clip that I got a little while back. And I measured the mass on 3 different balances. So on the left you have a Scout Pro balance. In the middle you've got an O-House sort of standard balance that we would have in our chem room. And then on the right you've got what's called an analytic balance. And the analytic balance is only in our AP Chem room because they're quite expensive. And we'll talk about the expense and the measurements and that sort of thing in class. But what you want to do is you want to write down the masses exactly as you see them on the balance, as you would if you were in class and measuring the same object on different balances yourself. So go ahead and record those masses, and then you'll be ready to move on to the last or second to last slide. On this slide, we show 2 pictures. And what I tried to do is I took a beaker, 400 milliliter beaker, and I measured out what I thought was about 50 milliliters of water. And so I measured that out, and I held it up to kind of where my eyes were, and I tried to take a picture of what I thought was 50 milliliters in that beaker. And then to kind of see how accurate that beaker was in terms of the measurement, I poured that into a graduated cylinder. And so in that graduated cylinder, it showed that there was about 55 milliliters that I had measured out, not the 50 that I thought. So what you want to think about is what is the purpose of each equipment and why I might use one piece of equipment versus the other in a chem lab. All right, so you can kind of put that down in your paperwork. And move on to our last slide. Our last slide shows a burette, and in AP Chem we use burettes a lot. In baby chem you may have used it in some different titrations. And so Burettes are designed a little bit differently. In some ways, they look like graduated cylinders. In other important ways, they are different. And so that's something that we'll be kind of discussing and things like that. So take a look at the amount of liquid that's in our burette, and then and record. And I think you in your paperwork you've got a multiple choice about how much, how you would record that measurement in the burette. So once you've done that, you're all set, and we'll talk about all these things in class. Thanks for watching.